Okay, dan gaan kry ek dit net en klip dit uit soos wat ek nou hierdie stukkie uitklip.
No problem.
Okay. Llewellyn, about your early midlife career change action planning, you came with the triggers that you really in a very serious, desperate situation for change. You felt trapped and you needed to urgently make more cash. Those are the 3 triggers that apply to you right now. We knew that as soon as we addressed them, the next triggers will come. So the next chapter, if you wish, is once this is addressed, you want to take the next steps, and then your triggers will change.
Okay.
Now the processes we follow is very similar for all changes. We just emphasize different things. The process is basically to explore your current situation, take the best out of it, calibrate, get things stable. And then be prepared to communicate with your current environment and new environment. And then you engage the people that came out of the process.
Okay.
So you clearly required actions to make some unknowns, uncertainties clear and known. Turn what you perceive as serious risks, unknowns into serious opportunities. That would be ideal. The gap where you want to go, and then you had to develop stories and create a beacon. And it's always true that out of people's past, there comes like a golden thread how they made decisions. That you always try to aim in a direction, but it was never quite clear. Would I be correct?
Yes.
Okay. And the stories, we're going to end up with stories because we are still a storytelling people. And elsewhere on the website, there's all about the power of stories. So with the normal copyright and legal notice, so your commitment is and was that you would really like to change from where you are to a space where you want to be and have some fun.
Yeah.
Now remember, all along you capture triggers, you have lots of notes, because you're going to need them when you look back. And those triggers only happens in a process, so if you don't capture them, they're kind of lost. Okay?
Sure.
So we encourage capturing very strongly. Again, who we are, we've built businesses, developed lots of people. We've done the last 10 years a lot of pro bono work at universities and communities. And the processes now runs at Northwest University, Prof. Jaapie Kroon. They were registered at UNISA with Prof. Sonicus, and Prof. Sonicus, is when she resigned, she took the registration back and brought it back to us. So it's on the web and we use it. So when we met, if you can briefly say the resume mentality, I could say you were stuck in a concept of somebody had to give you a job. If you can just talk about 10 days ago, where were you?
In a very different place. Definitely resume mentality, and I think it has to do with the mindset of being stuck and just being at the mercy of the employer or the potential employer, and absolutely not having control. So it's very much a thing of being out of control and at the mercy of your boss or whoever's in a position to be paying you money at that stage. So very much a feeling of being stuck is where I was. You know.
Not a good place.
No, very much not a good place.
So, if we review, you've selected your triggers, which we have listed in the action guide. Now here we will just put a video clip in from this. Okay?
Cool.
And what was very clear that your career aim, you couldn't quickly tell everybody around you, so nobody could help you. Your next tasks were not clear, not aligned with your objectives, and clearly there was no beacon or vision mission. So we had to get why you want to do these things. And because of earning money, you were desperately stuck on any job. And that happens so often. And that is why we call it the perceived career box. It's like you are in a box under the circumstance and you are so scared they don't like you because you need the job. Would that define it?
Very much.
Very much.
That's true.
So to help us understand, we took a look at you being a driving wheel in the business. What does the shareholders want? What do the executives want? What does your team members need? And most of all, what does the clients really need? Because once you change your picture to focus on the strategy, production of the company, and you focus on what do the clients come shopping for, you will be very powerful because you focus on the business in the right way. And the last slide that we quickly looked at, the business's rules of the game didn't always make sense to you, and it still doesn't.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
But understanding the rules and turning them to your advantage, just like any game, you could make more decisions, you could drive for new spaces, and all of a sudden the world will become a different place. So if we then look to start a safe thing, we summarize the process by false evidence appearing real, first attempt in learning, and so forth. We have a whole lot more acronyms here. So you need to know what you want to do and what you are doing. In your case, what you're currently doing, thereafter what you want to do. You've got to communicate that, and that preparation is critical. Because if you communicate in a positive way what you can contribute, rather than apart from your desperation and needs, it's a whole different game. Now for that we had to teach you a few techniques and tools, but it worked very well. You then engage the right influencers and you communicate it in a very different way.
Yes.
So those steps work for you?
Definitely. Definitely. In a very short space of time.
Okay. Now why the short space of time is because you had an urgent need, more than anything. You had a whole store of assets which you couldn't list because you were in a resume mentality. Now you've listed your experience, expertise, interest, aptitudes, relationships in a very different way, which for the first time bring their value out. And where you're going to apply it, who's going to get a great benefit for you to apply your skills in their business versus who's going to give me a job. Okay? You also found that there are plenty of resources out there for a man with a plan. When you know where you're going, many people are prepared to help you.
Yes.
When you don't know, people walk away. So we can literally say you were making your staircase while you are climbing it. And I think that's where the big fear comes in. It's a very scary thing to climb a staircase while you build it. And that's what a process is. So you had to get started, you explored, we just recap, you prepare and communicate, and you engage the influencers. That meant in the process of sorting this out, you already grew your store. Okay? And in the last 10 days, you grew a lot. It's a different space.
Yes, yes.
Then you are in a process. You didn't realize that you can choose the industry that naturally interested you all along. You didn't realize that you can get a job in the industry if you approach them right. And then we approached some companies for the future, keeping your base intact. And your base is even expanding now.
Yes.
Now we are aligning the work you do, right? We are aligning the work with the job you've chosen in the industry and company to build your long-term career. And it's absolutely magic if you get it right. So you're now clearly in charge of your future career aims. You don't feel desperate or although urgent, but not desperate anymore.
Yes. Yes.
You've gained insight, knowledge, and that gave you confidence. You can communicate that to the great space, and clearly you've broken out of the box of perceptions into a space and say, wow, now what changed? You only changed your thinking.
Yes.
Nothing else changed. The rest is all still exactly the same. Whereas 10 days ago, you thought they had to change. Now you realize you can change them.
It's powerful.
So then, back to your action plan. So you now totally out of the resume mentality. So what did we do? Again, we explored, organized, and communicated, right? Engaged. So you took a first quick step. You went through this. You are looking at various things that will excite you. And you realized, oh, I want to be independent. You can have it. But more importantly, what kind of work? You realized you like technology.
Yes.
And you like the applications of technology, especially in the mobile space.
Yes. Yes.
So what you want is exciting development in the mobile space.
Yeah.
So this says the result. This does not really say what you want, so you will correct that.
Yes.
Okay? And this will be a result of being in control, delegating, etc. You see, you now still say from a victim viewpoint that you will be in control. You are in control. You will now say, I will contribute greatly because I'm excited about that space. I'm excited about the growth. And I like developing new things, establishing new markets, hand it over and establish more markets. That's where you ended up.
Yeah.
So you will correct that.
Okay.
Who else would benefit from you doing this work? So now the telecom companies and the telecom users will benefit. I'm a person in a better space, so my family will benefit. My friends will benefit. But first of all, the telecom space will benefit. You'll correct that.
No problem.
Okay? So it's kind of nice when we capture it like this and then we correct it.
Yeah.
Okay? How would they benefit? So their market will grow, their sales will grow. You will help them establish a sales team by the time you leave and move on to the next challenge. Because we now know you're going to move to next challenges in 18 months to 2 years all your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we know as soon as it gets maintenance, it ain't for you.
Yes.
Fortunately, many people are very comfortable with predictability and maintenance. So it's good for them to hand it over to them, then they grow. So that way you help to grow other people, which happens to be an underlying passion of yours. Does it make sense?
Very much. Yeah.
So now if you look at your feelings, if you look back at what you want, which I just did, I reflected. Now we really enjoy reflecting. I tell you what I think you want, a straw man. You say, no, but you didn't think of this and this and the other thing. Then I said, but that generates opportunities, that generates this. What do you think, straw man? I can only put straw man up. You decide.
Right.
And you've seen the process, and we've also asked a few others, your friends,
Yes.
and so forth.
Yes.
And you got amazing stuff back from them.
Yes, so far. Yeah.
You didn't really know they know these things about you.
Yes, it's quite scary, actually. Yeah.
And it grows your relationship.
Yes.
But you could only approach them with a clear plan. Then they helped you.
Yeah.
Fair enough?
Very
So if you now look at organizing, you then started to look at the purpose. You now know you want to do market development. Establish the sales and hand it over to a team of maintainer salesmen.
Yes.
So the outcome is clear. The company grows their business while they grow their market, and you should benefit out of both. So you are in a different space. You can choose to whom you sell yourself instead of begging for a job in the resume mentality.
Like that.
You also realize that if you don't go to them personally, it's not going to work.
Yes.
And you also know that you are prepared to go to them for a day or two to listen and to demonstrate.
Yes.
Because your CV can never sell you. It is a dry document with no energy. Although once we publish the story properly that you started to do on LinkedIn, your beacon talk, you already now had hits and things you never had before.
Yes, on a LinkedIn profile, yes.
So, if you now, in this reflection technique, where you talk to your friends again, talk to your family again, talk to people like me and others again, you now grow rapidly because you started to ask for information, what they think, what they see, and you started to share of yourself, which is the model we use which we will introduce to the next level. So now, if you look at step 3, you have an appointment with another company, and the process allowed you to find value to that company and your current company and clients.
Yes.
Which led you to contract marketing, where you have the possibility of creating a whole new space,
Yes.
which is also the subject of the next thing. Did I summarize it correctly?
100%. 100%.
So you are in action, and the actions are coming up, but you also, when you talk to these other people, you ask them what else. You also realized for your current company, you can take them to other industries because that's what you enjoy developing. And that excites pretty much, I noticed.
Yes, it does. It's a challenge, and I like it.
Now, Helen, in summary then, we'll come back to these at a more detailed conversation. If you look at the results, you now can make an offer, which is your final thing, that you can offer the company of your choice an irresistible deal instead of begging for a job. You can never be out of work again. It's not possible.
Sounds good.
So, now who are you going to go say thank you to? You already said thank you to your family with amazing results.
Yes.
You will say thank you to your friends. Even the company that gave you a hard time recently, you're now going to go and say thank you. We've got to prepare very clearly for that, because it can very easily come across in a not so positive way.
Okay.
So, you did book your sessions, and this is the result. So now you clear that all life happens. What you do with it is what matters. You reacted. Now you're starting to respond in your own best interest. Would that be a correct statement?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
So if you now look at the fact that stuff happens, when you respond, you grow, when you react, you shrink. So clearly, react is not in your best interest. Respond with input from others is in your best interest, right? So this is always external, nothing you can do about it. What you do with it, now that's your choice. And if something is a bit big, like this company problem was, then you went for help. If you didn't go for help, you would have been in a pretty miserable situation right now, which you are now in a great. So, there's stories we tell to make that clearer. You know, it's the highway story that if you drive on a road and somebody drives stupid, you know, not that it ever happens in South Africa, but you can either get all worked up and say, wow, you know, he's in a hurry, he's still learning, and medley, you go on your way and you are happy. Whereas you can throw signs, you can hoot, you can carry on, and you arrive at work totally stressed out. And you stress everybody out, and soon you get fired. It all starts with how you respond to what happens. So if you look at, if you now hopefully will join the Career Success Program permanently, or Career Makeover, as I think you called it, in typically 7 days, we can achieve this change in thinking. If we interact, if you follow the guide, we do find people need a little bit of help, reflection, interaction. But in theory, you could find your family, friends, and people around you to help you with the action plan, and you didn't need any coaching from us. Now, we hope to get this action plan to the point where people can freely use it with their family, friends, trusted colleagues, who can help them clarify this picture because they have an example. They know what must be done.
Right. So
that's our goal, and hopefully, as they always say on these videos, see you on the inside, okay? So Helen, I hope that if you just summarize for me how you feel now, we will redo this video several times, and then we will make follow-up videos on your progress.
Okay.
It will become like a serialized story for you. Now
Days of my life.
It's almost the stories of your life going forward, and people can follow you.
Yeah.
Now that will grow your marketability and benefit all of us around.
Yes.
Someone else.
I feel now very much more positive, hell of a lot more than say
Because you
10
have
years
clear
ago.
actions.
Yes, clear actions, clear goals, a beacon which is starting to illuminate itself.
The
now.
light is getting
Which,
brighter.
Yeah, the energy is increasing. I was in a very negative space and I'm in a much more positive place right now. Also, the feeling of being in control has increased, where I felt trapped. It was almost a dangerous place, and I was just reacting with my back to the wall. So it feels a lot more positive right now.
So it was in the end false evidence appearing real.
Yes, exactly. A lot of fear.
And now the
Fear
same
is gone.
situation turned into a very rapid personal growth and new opportunities.
Yeah.
And what changed?
Way of seeing things. Perspective.
It's very tough to do by yourself when you're in a tough place.
Yeah, I think impossible.
Leon, thanks for this. We will then soon have the follow-up chat as you now go into action or as your actions emerge. And we will chase some of the opportunities. Right now, they are only strawmen from which we will develop your chosen alternatives. The technique is basically to reflect with people around you, which solidify your possible out-of-the-box thinking to real actions alternatives.
Right.
And then you have backup alternatives that if you go into implementation and you get surprises, you're comfortable because you know you have a backup. You now have backups. From no choice 10 days ago to too much choice today.
Yeah, yeah.
Now you will see in the next 2 weeks, your triggers will change. Now, if we can see that your triggers have changed, we know we are making it right. That's one measurement. I will also give you the list of requirements to just check that you have all the tools in your toolbox for this adventure. It's just a checklist to see that there are no gaps. And if there are gaps, to make a clear plan, because once you are into action and you then find out the gaps, that gets expensive. When now it is a very low cost to establish the gaps. Okay. We will, the gap establishment process is a clear product. Okay.
Cool. Very exciting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alan.
Thanks.